If you're looking for movies that explore pleasure addiction with depth, honesty, and psychological complexity, you've come to the right place. Today, we're counting down 10 films that dare to examine this taboo subject, showing characters trapped in cycles of compulsive behavior that destroy relationships, careers, and their sense of self. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's dive into a subject most filmmakers are too afraid to touch. Number 10. Turn Me On, Damn It, 2011. We begin our countdown in the small Norwegian town of Skodaheimen, where a 15-year-old girl named Alma struggles with desires she cannot control. This Norwegian coming-of-age film takes an honest and often humorous look at female adolescent sexuality, a subject that cinema rarely addresses. Alma is consumed by hormones and fantasies that range from romantic daydreams about Arthur, the boy she yearns for, to inappropriate thoughts about practically everyone she encounters. What makes Turn Me On, damn it? So refreshing is its refusal to shame its protagonist. Director Jannicke Sistad Jacobsen presents Alma's obsession not as something perverted, but as something painfully normal that society forces her to hide. When an incident at a party ruins her reputation, Alma must navigate the cruelty of small-town gossip while dealing with urges she barely understands. The film received strong critical acclaim with a 70 Metascore and serves as a reminder that sensual compulsion doesn't just affect adults. Sometimes it begins in adolescence, leaving young people isolated and confused. Number 9. The Escort, 2015. When a sex-addicted journalist meets a Stanford-educated escort, two worlds collide in unexpected ways. The Escort follows a struggling writer whose addiction to pleasure has destroyed his career and relationships. Desperate for a story that will revive his professional life, he begins following a high-class escort, hoping to expose the world of paid companionship. But as he gets deeper into her world, he finds himself confronting his own demons. The film works because it refuses to let its protagonist off the hook. His addiction isn't presented as charming or adventurous. It's shown as the destructive force it truly is, sabotaging every opportunity for genuine connection. The relationship between the journalist and the escort becomes a mirror, each reflecting the other's damage back at them. While the film didn't achieve mainstream success, it offers a raw examination of how addiction and intimacy become hopelessly tangled for those caught in compulsive patterns. Number 8. Brownian Movement, 2010. A respected doctor leads a double life that threatens to consume everything she has built. Charlotte is a physician in Brussels with a seemingly perfect existence. She is married to Max, a successful architect, and they have a young son together. From the outside, her life appears enviable. But Charlotte harbors a secret. She rents an apartment specifically to meet men, maintaining an elaborate double existence while preserving her intimate marriage and family life. Brownian Movement takes its title from the random motion of particles suspended in fluid, and it's a perfect metaphor for Charlotte's behavior. She doesn't seek these encounters for pleasure in any traditional sense. She seeks them compulsively, driven by forces she doesn't fully understand. The film is a character study of compartmentalization, showing how addicts construct elaborate barriers between their addiction and their real lives, believing they can maintain both indefinitely. Sandra Huller delivers a remarkable performance as a woman slowly losing control of the carefully constructed walls around her secret. Number 7. Choke, 2008. Based on the novel by Chuck Palahniuk, this dark comedy follows a pleasure addict who funds his mother's hospital bills through an unusual con. Sam Rockwell plays Victor Mancini, a medical school dropout who works at a colonial theme park by day and attends pleasure addiction support groups by night, where he consistently fails to stay sober. To pay for his mother's expensive care at a psychiatric hospital, Victor deliberately chokes in upscale restaurants, manipulating the guilt of those who save him into ongoing financial support. Choke refuses to take the easy route of either condemning or celebrating Victor's behavior. Instead, it examines the roots of his compulsion, tracing it back to a traumatic childhood with his mentally unstable mother. The film understands that addiction rarely exists in isolation. It's usually a symptom of deeper wounds. Victor uses pleasure to feel something, anything, in a life that has left him emotionally numb. The dark humor serves not to minimize his condition, but to highlight the absurdity of a society that creates people like Victor and then pretends to be shocked by their existence. Number 6. Bitter Moon, 1992. Roman Polanski directs this disturbing tale of obsession, degradation, and the dark places where desire can lead. During an ocean cruise, a proper British couple encounters Oscar, a paraplegic American writer, and his beautiful French wife, Mimi. Over the course of the voyage, Oscar tells the increasingly disturbed British husband the story of his relationship with Mimi, a tale that begins as passionate romance and descends into sensual obsession, cruelty, and mutual destruction. Bitter Moon is not an easy film to watch. Polanski unflinchingly depicts how sensual obsession can transform love into something toxic and all-consuming. Oscar and Mimi's relationship becomes a prison for both of them, each unable to leave despite the damage they inflict on one another. The film earned a 62 Metascore and features powerful performances from Peter Coyote, Emmanuel Seigner, and Hugh Grant. It serves as a cautionary tale about the difference between passion and addiction, showing how the pursuit of ever more intense experiences can leave nothing but wreckage behind. Number 5. In the Realm of the Senses, 1976. This Japanese-French production remains one of cinema's most controversial explorations of sensual obsession, based on a true story that shocked 1930s Japan. Director Nagisa Oshima presents a fictionalized account of the infamous Sada Abe incident. Sada is a former prostitute who begins working as a maid in a Tokyo hotel. When she enters into an affair with her employer Kichizo, their relationship quickly spirals into something neither can control. Their encounters grow increasingly obsessive and dangerous as both become consumed by a desire that recognizes no boundaries. In the Realm of the Senses was banned in several countries upon release and remains difficult to see uncensored in many regions. But beyond its explicit content lies a serious examination of addiction taken to its logical extreme. Sada and Kichizo become so consumed by their physical relationship that the outside world ceases to exist for them. They stop eating, stop sleeping, stop caring about anything except their next encounter. The film's notorious ending, based on actual events, demonstrates where such total surrender to compulsion ultimately leads. It's a harrowing portrait of desire without limits. Number 4. Fatal Attraction, 1987. The film that made an entire generation think twice about infidelity also offers a compelling portrait of obsessive sexuality. Michael Douglas plays Dan Gallagher, a successful New York attorney who engages in a weekend affair with Alex Forrest, played by Glenn Close, while his wife and daughter are out of town. Dan views the encounter as a meaningless fling, a brief indulgence before returning to his normal life. Alex sees it very differently. What begins as passionate attraction transforms into stalking, violence, and one of cinema's most memorable villains. Fatal Attraction works because it shows addiction from multiple angles. Dan is clearly a man who struggles with compulsive sensual behavior, risking his marriage and family for momentary gratification. Alex displays an even more extreme form of obsession, her desire metastasizing into something dangerous when rejected. The film earned a 67 Metascore and was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Its influence on popular culture cannot be overstated. The phrase "bunny boiler" entered the lexicon, and countless subsequent thrillers have tried to recapture its combination of eroticism and terror. Number 3. Hunter, 2015. This Bollywood film takes a surprisingly honest look at male pleasure addiction in a culture that rarely addresses the topic openly. Mandar is an ordinary man with an extraordinary obsession. Since adolescence, he has been consumed by sensual desire, spending his entire life chasing women with single-minded determination. His obsession has cost him friendships, jobs, and countless opportunities for genuine connection. Then he meets Tripti and decides he wants to settle down and leave his past behind. Hunter earned a 7.0 rating from audiences and broke new ground for Indian cinema by addressing pleasure addiction without the moralizing that typically accompanies such subjects in Bollywood. The film traces Mandar's compulsion from its earliest origins, showing how childhood experiences shaped his adult behavior. Crucially, it also shows that wanting to change isn't the same as being able to change. Mandar's struggle to leave his past behind forms the emotional core of the film. Can an addict truly transform, or will the past always come back to haunt them? The film doesn't offer easy answers, which makes it more honest than most addiction narratives. Number 2. Nymphomaniac Vulner's Eye, 2013. Lars von Trier's epic exploration of female sexuality spans 2 films and over 4 hours, creating cinema's most comprehensive portrait of compulsive sensual behavior. The film opens with a man named Seligman discovering a badly beaten woman named Jo in an alley. He brings her home to recover, and she begins recounting the story of her life as a self-diagnosed nymphomaniac. From her earliest sensual awakening through countless encounters that span decades, Jo chronicles a life dominated by desire she cannot control. Charlotte Gainsbourg delivers a fearless performance as the adult Jo, while Stacey Martin portrays her younger self. Von Trier structures the film as a conversation between Jo and Seligman, her confessor drawing parallels between her experiences and subjects ranging from fly fishing to mathematics. This intellectual framework prevents the film from becoming mere provocation. Instead, it becomes a genuine inquiry into the nature of addiction, asking whether Jo is truly diseased or simply refusing to conform to society's expectations of female sexuality. The film earned a 64 Metascore and divided critics, but no one could deny its ambition. This is filmmaking that takes its subject seriously, refusing to look away from uncomfortable truths. Number 1. Shame, 2011. Steve McQueen's devastating character study stands as cinema's definitive portrayal of pleasure addiction, earning our top spot for its unflinching honesty and emotional power. Michael Fassbender delivers a career-defining performance as Brandon, a successful New York executive whose life is meticulously constructed around his addiction. His apartment is sterile and anonymous. His relationships are non-existent. Every moment not spent at work is devoted to feeding his compulsion through encounters with prostitutes, anonymous hookups, and endless hours consuming pornography. Brandon has achieved a kind of equilibrium, however empty. Then his sister Sissy arrives for an indefinite stay, and his carefully cultivated private life begins to collapse. Shame earned a 72 Metascore and received universal critical acclaim for its mature, non-sensationalized treatment of addiction. McQueen shoots Brandon's encounters with clinical detachment, emphasizing the joylessness of compulsive behavior. There is nothing erotic about watching Brandon spiral. What we see instead is a man in profound pain, using pleasure the way an alcoholic uses drink, not for pleasure, but for temporary oblivion from feelings he cannot face. The NC-17 rating limited the film's commercial reach, but those who saw it recognized a masterpiece. Fassbender was robbed of an Oscar nomination, but his performance remains one of the decade's finest. Shame is not an easy watch. It's not supposed to be. It's a portrait of addiction stripped of all glamour, showing only the emptiness that remains when compulsion consumes a life. These 10 films prove that pleasure addiction is a subject worthy of serious cinematic exploration. From Norwegian comedies to Japanese art films to Hollywood thrillers, filmmakers around the world have grappled with this difficult topic, creating works that illuminate rather than exploit.